Listening wise, outside of reggae and soul, what are you each into right now that's influencing you unconsciously?
Oh wow!
And that is from Robert in London.
I don't know. It's unconscious.
Consciously.
I'm unconscious,
There isn't
I don't
much
know.
outside of.
Oh yeah, Robert, what are you doing? I mean, subconsciously, I'd say.
Subconsciously,
Yes.
all right. Because I'm unconscious and I don't know.
Yeah, you're not listening to nothing there now.
Subconsciously.
It's wow. There isn't much outside of the genres that we hear every day. I mean,
In all
I
fairness,
suppose-
I
I
don't really
suppose-
listen to music. I listen to
We
Radio
don't-
4.
yeah, I was going to say because I don't really listen to anything outside of because I've worked within the industry for so long. The last thing I want to do is when I get home is to listening to other bands playing their stuff with respect to other things. So if it's not like before, I'm kind of.
I think I
torn
find
into-
that with a lot of musicians,
how,
though.
How often do I put on the
Radio
radio
4,
and
what?
listen to Radio 1?
What's
If
on
I'm being
Radio
honest,
4 though?
if any of you like in this room now could put up your hand and say, I listen to Radio 1.
No.
Do you listen to Radio 1? Do you listen to Radio 1?
It might be frequent
It
every now and
depends.
again.
It
might
really
be-
depends. It
If I'm
depends.
trying to get
Really?
into find out what's going on and just want
Nah.
to, you know,
I don't
on a
even
long
watch
drive.
MTV anymore.
I don't.
Because
I don't watch
it's
TV
specialised now. So I have my selection. If you want to hear me play music, jump in my car.
Okay,
That's what you say, and that's current for me.
right.
I think the last time I listened to the radio was about 10 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. We don't really listen to current.
I'm very careful in terms of making music and in listening and in making music. There's only 8 notes in the scale. We've all got to share the same 8 notes. Do you know what I mean? So, and there's only so many chords and that you can play. Do you know what I mean? In
I
terms
do,
of what you
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
So you got to
you
share.
do.
You got to share.
that.
So you know, a 2-chord reggae. Well, there's thousands of records with just 2 chords. Reggae records with 2 chords. You know what I
call
mean?
those
So-
standards, I don't you?
So you see, yeah. So
there's
there's-
jazz standards, there's
there-
reggae standards.
You might, for me, I might hear something and think, I really like that. And each producer, musician, composer, there is a little bit of plagiarizing because it's all being done. And then what I try to do is apply the maths to that. So there's numbers behind the chords and the movements. If you just change the numbers around, you come up with a different vibe on the same thing. Do you know what I mean? So you could use the same chords as somebody else. It's just how they use
Of course.
what's the arrangement. So there is you are listening to stuff.
You're still
but
trapped
it's
by that.
passive. Well, yeah, because
But
it's
when you say
passively.
it's 251 or whatever you want to play the chord progression, it's still going to be trapped in the same.
It's the
format,
numbers.
isn't it?
It's all
I
the
think
numbers. yeah, you're
I'm
right.
not as
It's all the numbers.
out there as you guys. See,
That's that.
I'm not.
They've come out now.
It's been on the cards for a long time. But I tend to find that I'm like my parents. You know, when you were young and they turn that shit off. You know, because they have their own music, and I'm the same. Whenever I listen to the radio, I just think I can't listen to what the kids are listening to at the minute because it's just too many.
It has been an
regurgitated.
It's been an
shit,
uphill
you know.
struggle with trying to listen to the new
But I tend
type
to
of
see
music.
that the
And
kids.
my kids, a couple of them are trying to get. Well, they are into this rap, and they're in the studio and they're doing their bits, and I'm like, really? Is that what it's about? And they go, yeah, Dad, look, there's hits here, and there's that many views here, and we're doing this, and we've got that many views already. They probably do more numbers than us.
No, but that's the thing. I don't want to be
and it's like,
disrespectful.
what's going on?
But obviously there's fantastic artists out there that are young, that are up and coming, doing wonderful music. But I see my kids listening to stuff that I listen to because there's nothing out there that's new or original or that's got like spirit in it or vibes in it, or do you know what I mean? It's like
What I notice, it'll be an old song with a great chorus that will go viral.
But you know, if you like
shit,
drop some
because
Roy
it's-
Ayers or something like that, and you just go, oh, listen, you don't get
Yeah,
That's not
anymore.
never ever.
But do you know what I'm
ever
saying?
come
That's
back
why kids
again.
are going
Those
back,
sort of,
though.
Things they're not dead and buried as such, but you've got to be a certain generation of people to even understand that. Nowadays, Biggie's probably one of the biggest sellers. Vibes Cartel. He's slaughtering the world right now. Do you know what I mean? You just think, well, is that really my genre of music? But my kids.
But that was the thing as
off
well.
the scale for them.
I saw a
isn't it? You know what I mean?
resurgence of Luther Vandross the other day because Kendrick Lamar sampled a Luther song and it was If This World Were Mine, and all the kids like my son's age really, Max knows it because I used to play it, but they were like, who's this Luther Vandross? And I'm like, who's Luther Vandross? It's like they haven't got a clue who he is, but it's only because Kendrick sampled it and dropped it in his
regurgitated back to
it. But that's the only way they're listening to the classics, because the artists now are sampling it.
Yeah,
you know, it's a shame, man.
Well, I just think that it's like saying, you know, you walk in the house and goes, right, I'm going to go and play this vinyl, and the kids are like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, certain things are just gone. You know, and I was having this conversation the other day with some of the staff we work with, and I'm saying, you now know people and where they come from even just by their names, because kids, there's no kids now called Margaret or blah blah blah. So you know, if you hear names like that come up, you know what you can kind of, not saying you're pigeonholing people, but you kind of get a gist of where the eras come from.
Because language changes over time, doesn't it?
Of course.
So I think music has done the same thing, hasn't it?
It has. Music has definitely changed, and even in the time that we were growing up, and there was this whole digital thing going on, but you still had to be a musician to play. And then you got to the point where you could just take a block of music, plug it all together, and that becomes your music. And so on, as to where we are today with the AI generation of music, you can just bring stuff up and play it. But there still is a difference between somebody who creates something from scratch and something you bring from AI. In terms of the audience, their curiosity into how they access, because it is about how they access music. So back in the day, it was Top of the Pops, it was the Tube on Channel 4, and a whole bunch of TV shows, and you had your MTV.
Remember when you done the great James Whale?
Yeah.
Remember the James Whale?
I do remember doing
He done James
I
Whale.
did that with
Black Slate.
And those were like TV shows
Was it Steve
specifically for
Steve Wright.
It was late at night. I used to get myself. I bought myself a little radio. I could only listen to Radio 1 and listen late at night because they did play one reggae tune. What was
just the one?
DJ's name's probably dead and buried now.
But that was the same like with BR&B when you had Chris Kennedy, and you had what was it? There was a radio show that used to come on a Sunday, and you used to get your tape ready.
Tape ready to record.
Yeah, and you just record
Sunday evening.
Yeah, you just record that. Yes, I'm a pirate, so it was locking me up,
Oh, you mean the chart show?
Yeah.
Well, it was Bruno Brooks, wasn't it, on Radio 1 back in the day when I was a kid?
No, there was a local one in Birmingham.
There was a particular show on Sunday night after 9 o'clock at night.
And then they
played the best
night
music.
But it played everything relevant, everything that was up to date, and you'd probably get the 1 and 2 every now and again. You'd throw in a reggae music. You might get a Marley tune in there or something special that wasn't there. Sugar, you know, I mean, those people that were relevant at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was.
So here's a question.
That wasn't the question, was it?
No. But anyway, here's a question from Matt Boy in Birmingham, House of Fyah. Do you think the way music is made and produced now that it's lost its soul compared to the way we used to record it?
Only because there aren't many musicians. I'm going to say this with respect to everybody that's doing this stuff. That there's too much sampling for me going on because there's not enough creativity within musicians getting together as we are trying to do to portray live music because everything has become too digital as such that you know there's no hard work involved in it anymore. My kids can go into their bedroom now and put a tune together on decks.
On decks, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they go, wow, and it'll make more money than you think, wow, bloody hell. You know, all that studying and time and effort that I put into learning my chords to do this and do that, all these scales I've rehearsed.
But it always has a tendency to come back round, doesn't it? I think.
Like you just said, with the tune that you...
With the tunes and also with the way it's played as well, because we're of that era where vinyl was that as soon as you drop the needle and you hear that crackling and the warmth and you know, that was compared to digital now it's really cold and clinical.
Yeah, it's that harsh sound, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, that's what I think where I was trying. The point is that has it lost its soul through listening to music? Because obviously, like I said, when you listen to vinyl, it was that warm, you know, you felt.
But I think the problem we're facing is that if you was to give that warmth sound of that 2-inch tape that we grew up listening to somebody of this era, they wouldn't get it anyway.
I don't think they'd even understand the difference.
They wouldn't know what you're on about.
If you played a record that was
true,
mixed on 2-track and the same record that was digital,
don't
I
miss
don't
what you
think the
never ran
average
in it.
ear
We'd understand the difference because I understand valve rather than
they would just get on with
I
it.
want analog against digital.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
what I'm saying, for me, that's how music's created.
Yeah.
With a lot of hard work and stress, not being able to go into the studio.
Because
I know
even
we
when
do it
people
now
hear music
because
has
it's
changed.
easy
The
to
frequency
see.
of music's changed over in terms
Was
of
it
what you
that
can
way
achieve.
you don't miss what you never had in it? I
Yeah,
suppose.
exactly.
I mean, we were mixing on analog at one point, and
Yeah.
we were hearing stuff that we knew was digital, and we knew we just haven't got the frequency
Yeah.
EQ-wise to even start to compete.
But even
with what
now,
we're hearing.
studios nowadays.
So we had to take our stuff to the computer,
Yeah.
but what we maintained was playing.
That
was the
Yes.
thing you still played
Yes.
into
Yeah, it's digital. World.
that computer. So a lot of the drumming that we did, it wasn't just programmed; it was literally played. I used to stand there going, "Nah, let's do it again," and you'd have to go and play another 16, 34 bars of perfect drumming.
Yeah.
Because we wanted that live sound. Once we got that down, it was all over. So you couldn't. At that point, it's digital, but it's no longer digital in the sense that it was.
Yeah, it was a performance with it, wasn't it?
There's a performance.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was noise. You were breathing. You know, you're a living, breathing person playing that into, and actually you can feel it in the quantization. In the program, but we were using Logic, you can actually feel, and once you really understand how to quantize it, you can bring back that humanizing. That's so when you're saying, oh, it just sounds too douche, that's because the minutiae stuff a musician would do. Somebody just playing it like that, they're just going to play.
There's a certain amount of movement.
That 8 bars will just run for the rest of the song. Where we will play 24 bars.
There is a certain amount
40
of movement,
bars.
isn't there? There's got to be a certain amount of movement within the song. If it's too clinical all the way, I'm not saying that I actually like the way we're doing stuff nowadays. I'm not just saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that there's a certain element from when we were children, you listen to music, that there'd be a certain off key, or it's kind of stretched, or it'd be kind of warped, or whereas nowadays everything is on time. Everything's on
even hit
point.
records now. You hit records that were back in the day. I listen to them now and I'm going, was he really on key?
I mean,
Or did they really let that drum just go like that?
Dancing Queen, the bass player makes a corker of a wrong note on the outro. I remember
Just dropping
doing that
people in it
record, and I thought, my God, you never ever heard that
Yeah,
on the hit, but when you listen to it,
Yeah.
bass player plays the wrong note.
This is going to sound mad when I say
One note, it's just one note.
There are a lot of times when I'll be recording and you're in the studio and I'll do something wrong and then I'll listen to it back and I go, but actually that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Do you know, and do I really want to change that? And everybody wants to go, no, we need to get this right, so it's all on the fucking. I was thinking I'm going.
Because
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
we've done that and many times, haven't we? I've played, and you can hear when you solo the guitar that I've played or the piano. There's a little clashy note in there. And I'm going, yeah, man, that's just going to sound sweet.
Yeah,
But that's
going to
this
sound wonderful.
You're leading this into a whole nother fucking because obviously, like back in the day, Frank Sinatra, all these guys, when he walked into a studio with an orchestra there, he had to nail it. There was no, hang on, stop there, just everyone moving up. There was no, we'll chop you in, or we'll cut you. There was none of that business. So that, in a sense, makes musicians, singers, blah blah, lazy.
But getting back into
Because
Many
you
of us wouldn't be able to survive in the 30s.
But Dennis, get back into
We're all still human beings, though.
No, I was about to say,
Anyway.
like, get back into the reggae itself. In the dubplate world in Jamaica, when you went into the studio to do a dubplate, there wasn't like you're recording it on a tape. It was cutting onto the wax. So you couldn't get it wrong. It was cutting it straight onto the wax, and there's your dubplate, mate. Give us the money. This sound wants it now. Right, next time, and you have to do the whole thing again.
The band to be in there now playing the song.
You have to play.
And Cox and Dada go, no, play 1, 2, and off
And
they
it's
go.
up, I'm cutting into the wax. So we've lost all of that, and that was part of the right, I've got to get my skills up and all of that. Now, no, I don't like that, let's replay it. Oh, I don't like this replay. Where's all the creativity gone where you have to be able to come up to this standard?
A standard that you work hard to achieve, you know. But now it's just because it's there technology-wise, it's given to you.
Yeah.
Is it still the same, if you know what I mean? It's not.
We've probably gone straight way off the question, haven't we?
We have. I mean, I can't even remember the original question.